Hey guys, my name's Brian, and today I'm gonna help you make smarter choices in the gym by going over how injuries occur. I wanna start off by saying injuries are really just a mathematical equation, and an injury will occur when the demand of the tissue is greater than the tolerance of the tissue. I also wanna go over some of the common scapegoats of an injury and how they affect this equation. Starting off with bad form. In isolation, bad form can definitely be a root cause of an injury, because quite often we see if somebody has knees caving in or their back is rounding over under a 1 rep max, but under submaximal weight, they keep really good form, that will dramatically increase the demand of the tissue without increasing the tolerance of the tissue, and therefore increasing the risk of an injury. However, oftentimes we see if somebody is consistent with that bad form, they always have their knees caving in, or they always round their back on a deadlift, but they have really good programming where they're making small jumps that are consistently spaced out, and their recovery is excellent. They're getting all their nutrition, they're getting all their sleep. Sometimes what we can see is the tissue tolerance actually rises accordingly to the demand of the tissue, right? That can be a highly debatable one, especially when it comes to the spine, because a lot of the tissues in the spine don't get a lot of blood supply, but that's why excellent programming and excellent recovery are required if you do have bad form. If you have those things in check and you have consistent bad form, we can sometimes get away with it without increasing the risk of an injury. Now these next two, the poor programming and under recovery, in my opinion, they go kind of hand in hand, because if we have poor programming, it's going to cause under recovery. If we're doing things like a Smolov program, or one of my favorites that I hear every year is Squattober, where you're squatting every day for the month of October, all these things are going to dramatically increase the risk of injury by increasing the demand of the tissue, and we're not letting it recover, so that tissue tolerance drops. Anytime you see both of these happening, where the demand of the tissue and the tolerance of the tissue are moving in the opposite directions, and that demand of the tissue is increasing, it is exponentially more likely to result in an injury. The last one, under recovery. I know it does go with poor programming, but it can also be by itself. Even if your programming is great, even if your form is great, under recovery can also have things like, or can also classify things like getting your protein, getting your micronutrients, so not just your macronutrients, but your micronutrients. Are you, one thing I'm guilty of often is eating like a child, right? You want to eat like an adult, have your fruits and veggies. Don't just live at a fast food restaurant, get all your micronutrients and your macronutrients that you need. Get your sleep in check, and because if you're not recovering well, even with great programming and great form, the tolerance of this tissue will drop. And that's why you see sometimes somebody says, hey man, like I injured my hamstring doing this exercise. I was maybe RDLing 225, but I'm used to being able to RDL 275. Why'd it go at 225? And the culprit is almost always under recovery, whether they were not getting enough sleep or whether they were eating like a child, that tissue tolerance just wasn't there on that day, resulting in that injury. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe.